What's up, guys? Vince the Anomaly here with
Shane Faison.
and today we are going to teach you guys how to break some rules. So Shane, what's the first thing you learned when you hopped into the gym?
Not to drink from other people's water bottles.
That's a good one.
No, I'd say probably stance. How to stand, to stagger your feet, have a nice sturdy base, and then some footwork.
Definitely. I mean, that's one of the most basic things you're going to learn is how to stand properly. Now, anytime someone tells you there's a hard rule, usually that means you can break it some of the time. So we're going to teach you when to stand in not a regular stance, but in a squared stance in an MMA fight, how to use that properly. So let's check it out. Now, before we break any rules, we need to know why these are rules in the first place, right? So, Shane, can you get in your bladed stance looking at the camera for me, please? So this is our proper stance for when we're fighting, when we're striking, right? Shane's bladed here. It's taking away a lot of the surface area for me to punch and hit him. He's also in a good position to where if I do punch, hit, and he blocks, he's able to move back and forth. He's also able, if I do punch him, he's got a brace there on that back leg, so he's not just going to topple over, right? So he's taking away a lot of that surface area, and he's got some good balance here when we're striking. Now, if he squares up, if I punch Shane, he's going to fall over. He's going to get off balance pretty quickly, and we definitely don't want that to happen when we're fighting out here. At the same time, you're not loaded up for any strikes here. I'll take punches all day with Shane just standing squared up like that. You can't really generate any force.
Yeah.
Now, this changes when we're up against the wall. Okay, so when we're fighting and we get closer to the wall over here, if Shane stays in that bladed stance and he's facing out like this, now he's kind of limited in where he can move, right? He can't move that far backwards. His foot's already up against the wall. He can't cut too many angles going side to side. If I'm hitting him, that's okay, but now look, I'm able to shoot in and he's closed off and he's not going to be mobile at all. This changes a bit, so let me switch sides with you. Once I get, and I can feel this wall coming up behind me, I'm going to square up instead. Okay, so now the benefits of being square are I'm opening up a lot of space. So look at my feet right here. If you can kind of picture a pizza pie, I've got a whole 180 degrees to work with, right? With my stance open up like this. If I'm stuck right here, yeah, I can cut this angle, but it's going to be a little bit hard and it's going to be a little bit slower for me to get up. If I tend to square up right here, now I can really bounce side to side and I can get off very quickly. Again, I'm not worried about trying to knock Shane out from here too. So yes, I'm not going to have as much power as if I'm right here throwing this big overhand right. But if I'm up against this cage and I need to get off quickly, which again is going to be my main goal when I'm fighting here up against the wall, I need to get off. So I want to be able to dart off to the side. I can throw a straight and hop to my left. I can throw this jab hand and also step off to my right very quickly. And from there, once we've got just a little bit of an angle off to the side, now I can start to circle out. Okay? So the main benefit here for turning square is Shane's following it, punching me, he's getting me up to the wall. I go a little bit square, and now I've opened up all this space. I'm going to be protecting right here. I can get my head going from side to side, but what I really want to do is just throw one punch and get off to the side very far, and it's going to be hard for Shane to really step over and track me there. Now, another added benefit of getting square as we get closer to the wall here is if Shane does shoot, now my legs are already wide, so I'm just going to get a little bit wider, and just like how we've covered before with defending the takedown up against the wall, I'll use this whizzer, I'll use this underhook, I'll pick Shane up, I'll start to spin him, start to turn him around, use all my different wall escapes. But the main thing is I'm able to kind of sprawl and get my legs wide here. If I'm standing like this and Shane shoots in, I can't get my hips back, right? I'm pretty stuck right here. If I try to sprawl and create some space, I just don't have any. It's going to be really hard for me to pull this leg back and get it out at the same time to defend. So it's going to be very tough if we're keeping that same bladed stance that we normally do out there back here up against the wall. So the hardest part about this, I would say, is when someone is kind of walking us down into the wall, is we got to kind of feel where that wall is.
Yeah.
We don't have time to look down by our feet or look back at the wall. It's almost like a baseball player, right? When they're trying to catch a ball right over the top, prevent that home run from happening. There's going to be that little dirt patch right before. Yeah. So you got to kind of feel where that dirt patch is. just in your own brain and get used to using the sides of your eyes to see. Use your peripheral vision to see, okay, where am I? Am I close to the wall here? Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit more square so I can really go side to side and try to juke and get Shane away from me.
Yeah.
Now, one thing you can also do is kind of sprint off to this side, and yeah, sometimes fans boo at that, but if I cannot get taken down, if it's Khabib Nurmagomedov chasing me down here, he's trying to hold me up against the cage, ain't gonna happen. I'll square my stance up, I'll throw, and I'll kind of sprint and run away just to get back to the center of the cage there. So another added benefit of getting squares, again, just that mobility.
Mobility, agility.
Now let's run a little drill for this squared stance here. So grab a partner here. Shane's gonna be walking me down. He's gonna be throwing punches as if it's a fight. Yep, I'm kind of blocking here, and I need to feel when this cage is coming up, right? So once I feel that cage coming, I'm gonna get a little bit more square, and then I'm gonna get off to the side. So Shane has two options. He can keep walking me down and try to keep me up against the cage with his punches, or he can walk me down again with his punches and then try to shoot and take me down. So either way, I need to either be ready to sprawl, or I need to just get off the cage as fast as I can using my strikes, using that open stance or squared stance. All right, so let's see what this looks like. Shane's walking me down. I get square. I'm able to use that square stance to get off to the side. Now we'll switch. So I'm gonna walk Shane down, throw my punches, try to either keep him here or shoot. Exactly. Shane squares up with me and is able to pop off to the side. So drill that with a partner. Set the timer for 5 minutes. Just go back and forth. It's a great one to learn how to move off the wall quickly.
Yeah, keep it realistic, guys. You'll notice that like as soon as you get to the wall, if there's too much of a gap, it's gonna be really easy for you to escape. In a fight, you might have a really aggressive opponent who's really good at putting the pressure and closing off the distance. So bring it to him, bring it to your partner, and make it realistic.
So there it is, guys. When to stand in a squared stance, specifically for MMA. Whenever we're getting pressed up against the wall, up against the cage, get into that squared stance so we can fire off a shot and get off, open up some space, get off the wall as fast as we can, or we can use that stance again to defend takedowns.
Yeah, guys, don't be a square, or be a square if your back's up against the cage. There you have it. Be sure to check out Vince Inami, links in the description below for his Instagram, and subscribe to get the fight tips before your opponent does. Until then, I'm Shane.
Vince Inami.
Fight tips for the underdogs.